Hey, John, how's it going?
Hey, Eddie, what town are you in?
I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. What do you know about Nashville?
What do I know about Nashville? Let's see. I was in a bar one time there upstairs and I don't remember leaving. But anyway,
Where are you, John? Are you in LA?
I'm in LA where I was born. Yeah.
Yeah,
I came out of the womb of the LA woman.
that's funny. I saw that you were born and raised in LA, and I thought automatically, I'm like, I wonder if when you're born and raised in LA, are you always wanting to be famous? Like, is it just a goal from the very beginning? Like, I'm going to do something in Hollywood. I'm going to be in a band. I'm going to be famous. Like, what was that road for you like?
Yeah, good question. I grew up in the suburbs and it could have been Kansas or somewhere. Only when I, in my late teens, ventured into Hollywood and realized, oh, this is the entertainment mecca of the world.
Yeah.
So as a kid, I was just out there in the suburbs.
So let's talk about your book a little bit, John. It's called The Seekers. The book, it's let me see, get the title is The Seekers Meetings with Remarkable Musicians and Other Artists. I'm curious about the other artists and why they're just not remarkable musicians.
Well, I threw in a couple poets and acting teacher and the Dalai Lama mystic guy. So they aren't quote musicians. So I had to kind of paraphrase the subtitles so they were included.
So tell me a little bit about this book. What was the whole point of writing this, and what's it about in a nutshell?
I wanted to give a tip of the hat to artists who fed me, and it's a very eclectic group. Willie Nelson and Lou Reed and Patti Smith and jazz musicians. But maybe that is what the Doors are about. We were a melting pot, and that's what America is about too. So we got to figure out how to become the United States.
Yeah, I agree with that. I saw Bob Marley on the list too, and I'm a big Bob Marley fan. I'm curious to know that story a little bit about like how you met him and what you got from him.
Well, I only met him for a few minutes backstage, but Robbie Krieger, the Doors guitarist, and I were in Jamaica before reggae came to the States. And we knew there was some magic coming. And we went back to LA and I saw Linda Ronstadt's bass player, Kenny Edwards, and I said, listen to this stuff. And he said, what is it, Reggie? I said, no, reggae. Well, a year later, Linda covered Many Rivers to Cross and was #1 by Jimmy Cliff. So they're welcome. Marley was such a visionary. He wrote about no woman, no cry, women and issues and racism and everything. He's just really creative, great artist.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, especially of the realm of your book, who is one of the coolest artists, musician you've ever met? And who'd you really geek over?
Oh, well, everybody in the book, pretty much. I mean, I geeked over Elvin Jones, John Coltrane's drummer. And by the end of his life, I'd help him bring his drums to the car, so he was a mentor for me.
Yeah, no, I see that too. I mean, and so I see drums in the background of your picture there. Do you still play a lot?
Yeah, a little bit here and there, not as much, but I'm kind of looking for music in between sentences, which is cool.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that too. What does John Densmore listen to these days? Are you an Ariana Grande fan? You like Bieber? Like, what are you listening to?
I like it all. Classical, world music. I find it interesting that if I'm listening to some music that is in another language, Brazilian or Spanish, whatever, and I can't literally get the linear dialogue, I still feel the culture. I get a feeling of that culture. And that's healing. That's what music does. Goes right to the heart, not to the brain.
Yeah, I read you were a dancer too. Is that right? You danced some a little bit after the Doors?
I was drumming for a dance company, primarily. I mean, they got me up there running around a little bit, but that was not really my thing.
I mean, you think it goes hand in hand. You're keeping the rhythm of the band. You might as well move with your feet, right?
Hey, I always wanted to jam with a tap dancer. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll do that in the future.
So I want to talk a little bit about the Doors, John. I was raised on the Doors. Listen, my older brother listened to you guys nonstop and listened to all the records, and we would always talk about you guys and just thinking about what life was like in the late '60s for you guys. When you watch the movie and you listen to the music, in my mind, what I created in my dumb mind was like, God, these guys must live in a haze 24/7, and not really know what was happening. Is that factual or was it controlled? Were you able to just live your life normally, or were you just completely high all the time?
No, no, like Oliver Stone's movie was great. Val Kilmer was incredible, but it's cramming 6 years into 2 hours.
Yeah.
There was downtime when Jim was quiet writing poetry. Oliver said, well, that's not filmic. And he's right. But, it wasn't all crazy all the time. And when it was too crazy, we'd send Jim home. And the next morning, we'd get the vocal take we wanted when he was straight. So there you go.
When they worked on the movie, how much of a hand did you guys add to that storyline wise, and were you happy with the way it came out?
Yeah, I thought Val Kilmer should have been nominated for an Oscar. Robbie and I were helping out. Ray had a conflict with Oliver. Ray wanted to direct the movie because he went to film school. But, it was a great kind of impressionistic painting of our career. And there's also a documentary called When You're Strange that Johnny Depp narrated that has a little more of the 60s period in there. And the two films kind of, I think, represent our whole career.
When Jim passed, what was going through your mind? Did you think your musical career was over, or did you know you were going to keep going on and doing something else?
Well, it was hard to believe. I thought he was going to be an Irish drunk who lived to 80. And, we didn't know he had a disease, and we didn't have substance abuse clinics. So we didn't know what was going on. But we were playing. So the three of us kept playing right in our rehearsal room. And then we made a couple albums after he died without him. And we went, well, what are we doing here? Our focal point is gone. So
let me ask you this. One of my coolest videos that I watched back, I guess in the early '90s, was when you guys got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and Eddie Vedder came out and sang with you guys. To me, that was cool because I'm a huge Pearl Jam fan. I love Eddie Vedder, and at that point in my life, I'm thinking Eddie makes a really good Jim, and I'm sure you guys had a lot of people step into that spot. Who was your favorite to step into that spot and fill in for Jim when you guys play?
Eddie Vedder. I mean, I love the guy. Scott Weiland was great, but Eddie is, I don't know, his pipes, he's got a baritone like Jim. And I just love the guy. And I've sat in with him on his solo shows, a little here and there playing hand drums. And he's just one of the most soulful guys walking the planet.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I'm a huge fan. I love that video. I still own it. I have it on a VHS tape somewhere, maybe in my attic, but very cool to watch. Also too, John, you have a kid? Do you have a child?
I have grandkids.
Okay, so what was that like for your child? Like, does he know how cool you are, or does she? I don't know if it's a boy or girl. You have a son or a daughter?
I have both.
Yeah. Okay. So do they know how cool you are? Do they care how cool you are? Do they even know how cool it was to be in the Doors?
Well, they know that their dad has to go to the bathroom and get divorced like everyone else. So, but they know that I'm admired by other musicians that they respect. So then they think, well, hey, he's all right, I guess.
Yeah. Was that a thing? Did any of them want to become? I'll let you get that.
Wait a minute, my phone's ringing. Can we cut this?
Sure, of course.
Okay, sorry. One more ring. I got the sound off. All right.
All right. No, lastly, so Bobby likes to ask this question to people he interviews, and I think it's a great question. But if you could pick one Doors song to never ever play again, what would it be?
To never ever play again.
Ever.
Well, I love Texas radio and the big beat. I played the melody instead of just the backbeat. And that's one song we never played live, and I would die to play it. So there's the reverse answer.
There's the opposite of what I asked. Yeah, no, that was cool. Listening to the Doors, you definitely had. I feel like drummers sometimes they just have the easiest gig because they can sit back, keep the rhythm, but you didn't. Your drumming was a big part of the music, and that's big jazz influence, right? Is that correct?
Absolutely correct. Yeah. The first job is to keep the beat, but if you can have a conversation with the singer or the guitar player and spur them on, then all the better. So
one last question. I'm sorry, I said the last one was the last. One more, John. We're in country music. Our radio show is a country music show, a morning show, and what I hear a lot from fans and the older fans of country music is listening to new country music and saying that ain't country.
Yeah,
it's a very common thing, and I remember to listen to the Doors and my parents or my parents' friends saying that ain't music. Was that a thing? When the Doors were trying to make it, was that part of the struggle of just like, no, this is music. It's just not what you're used to hearing.
Yeah, there's always a resistance to something new. But, I have Willie's Roadhouse Blues channel on my radio, and I'll hear old Merle and Patsy Cline, and it's not my genre, but I get it. And, you'll hear Willie now playing a guitar solo, and there's space in that solo. And that's what's so melodic and beautiful and catchy. I write about this. Technique is not everything. Breathing and silence in between the notes. So there's 2 cents.
Yeah, I like that. Well, John, thank you so much for your time. Good luck with the book.
Thank you, man.
You also have another book as well, and that's kind of more of a biographical Doors book. Is that right?
Oh, I have 3 self-centered memoirs. Riders on the Storm, first one, The Doors Unhinged, and now The Seekers.
Cool, man. Well, good luck. I look forward to reading all those, and thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
All right.
We'll see you, John.
Catch ya.
Hey guys, it's Bobby Bones. Welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and then go check it out. A lot of artists, a lot of songwriters, a lot of music. Welcome to the Bobby Cash channel.